Well, you talk about being tough on crime. I tell you who's not being tough on crime right now, and that's US President Joe Biden. He's really going for it in his last few days in office. During the 4 years that he's been the president, and mind you, he's got 4 weeks to go, he's pardoned or commuted the sentences of more than 8,000 people, including, of course, his son Hunter. Now, the only other presidents who come close to pardoning or commuting that many people, if you ignore Jimmy Carter pardoning Vietnam War draft evaders, is Lyndon B. Johnson and Barack Obama, who issued around 2,000 pardons each. Trump, by comparison, pardoned only 237 people in his first term. But Joe Biden, 8,000 people, including a Chinese national who was caught with something like 40,000 child porn images. And then he's commuted the sentences of a whole lot of business bosses who ripped off $5 billion from about 1 million victims. What on earth is Joe Biden playing at?
I looked it up, and since the turn of the century, 1900, till now, there have been something like 22,000 acts of clemency. So this is about 35% of that. 35% of what's happened in the last century and a half has come now. And it really is interesting because it stinks to high heaven. The power, presidential power, is unilateral. Whether we like it or not, it is unilaterally his prerogative to do. But it stinks to high heaven in terms of that scale, because what does it mean if you take it to its logical endpoint? It either means that there's all these people, 8,000 people, who were over-sentenced or over-prosecuted, and so what's wrong with the criminal justice system if that's true?
Right.
Or there are all these people who actually have committed crime, and he's paving the way by doing these early ones now. He still has 35 days to go. Who's coming? Is it Fauci? Is it his brother? Is it himself? That's going to be the big one. If that happens, big news that day.
And a lot of people really do think he will issue preemptive pardons to people like Anthony Fauci. And the thing about the Democrats is for years now I've been thinking, no, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't prosecute Trump. They wouldn't. And every time they surprise me. So you wouldn't put it past them issuing a preemptive pardon for someone like Anthony Fauci, which would just be wild. Hey, before I let you go, there's one thing I've got to ask you, and I'm sure you have the answer because someone must. All of these drones over New Jersey and New York, there's wild theories going around. And I guess the wild theories have been given opportunity because the White House are saying, no, there's nothing to see here. But Americans are used to the White House lying. I mean, they said the border was secure and closed. So there's all these wild theories and speculation. What's the speculation and what's your bet about these drones that keep being seen?
I wish I knew. In the absence of actual information, all we can do is speculate on the spectrum. So it goes from the least nefarious hobbyists, which most people have ruled out, it doesn't look like that, to something commercial, like the Amazons and Walmarts of the world trying to perfect their same-day delivery, probably not that, to foreign governments, which the Pentagon has ruled them out, but nobody, to your point, trusts government agencies anymore, really, to the U.S. government, which is probably the most likely, if I had to pick a, James, where they're training for warfare, and drones are going to be a big key part of the future of warfare. Is it something like that? And of course, the most sinister at the end of the spectrum is UFOs. And I think that has probably been ruled out too, but there's lots of people interjecting that into the mix.
I'll tell you the most recent one is Joe Rogan is now saying that he reckons the government are flying these drones looking for some sort of radiation leak or something like that. And of course, who knows? But the White House have created this speculation by not just being upfront with people and having the last 4 years where, Karine Jean-Paul, you never believe anything she says at the White House. Kosha Gada, appreciate your time tonight.